Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a good day, and above all else, that you're looking after yourselves and one another. Today, I am welcoming for the first time to the channel Mr. Ken Cheshire. How you doing, Ken?
Good morning, Armando. Thank you for having me. I'm doing just fine.
That's great. That's great. How is it weather-wise where you're at in Louisiana?
It's hot and humid, and it's not even the high point of summer yet.
No, I know here in Edmonton, surprisingly, it's starting to be like extremely humid, like 25 degrees Celsius. So it's quite.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to enjoy it because it can snow in August.
Yeah. We
So
don't we don't have that problem here. Yeah.
you're very lucky. You're very lucky in
Yeah.
that respect. Um,
Don't have to shovel. Yeah.
Now one time I saw it snowing outside. It was early September. I could have crapped myself. I was so upset. Um, Ladies and gentlemen, all that aside, we have come together today to discuss a very special album slash box set. Today we are discussing The Who, Who's Next, Lifehouse Super Deluxe Edition. Now, to set this up for you, um, the original album of Who's Next was released on August 2nd, 1971, through Track, Decca, and MCA Records. Um, this album was first thought of as a multimedia project, a multi a multimedia experience by Pete Townsend. He had come up under the name of Lifehouse. Sorry, I had to set that up as well. He had come up with this idea to again do this expansive, interactive multimedia kind of experience. And I don't even think he understood what was going on with the project at one point because
Yeah.
it was discussed as being at one point they were the Who talked about or Townsend talked about having performing concerts and having people in the audience give out, requests for songs and just every an interactive experience that was going to be between the band and the audience. And it got very convoluted and confusing. So he decided to scrap the Lifehouse project and hone it down to 9 songs and come up with the name of the album, Who's Next? Okay. This album was a massive success when it was released, uh, reaching #1 in the UK, #5 in Canada, and I do believe #4 in the US
That's correct.
at the time. Um, Now, before we get into it, because this is a massive set, this set, I should also say, is a 10 CD, one Blu-ray audio box set. Comes also with a hardcover book, sorry, the writing process, the history of the album, what went into the album. Also comes with a hardcover graphic novel of the story of Lifehouse. So this sucker is heavy. Uh, Ken has his, sorry, copy. My copy is in the dining room right now. I can't physically lift it. I'm going to give myself a hernia trying to pick it up. So
It's 10.5 pounds. Yeah.
yes, it is quite
It's
heavy.
hefty. Yeah.
It is quite heavy. There were some issues uh, with the packaging in terms of buttons that come with the box set, and some uh, photos of the band, some professional photos of the band that were taken, some publicity shots happened to be damaged due to the fact that the back of the buttons poked holes in the or at least severely marked the photos. So, but you know, I digress. It happens, right? In terms of, I guess, poorly planned packaging. So, I'll pass this over to Ken for a brief minute. Let me ask you, what is your experience with this album overall, like when you first heard it? And
I first heard it shortly after it was released. I was um, I was a young teen at the time.
hmm
Grew up growing up in the sticks in the boonies of North Florida. Me and my best friend were uh, we loved music. We were both in the band and all of that. He started playing drums. I started playing guitar.
Hmm.
And since we couldn't drive, especially during the summer, we would spend like several days at his house, and then he'd spend several days at my house. Well, at his house, in his living room, his dad had one of these massive furniture type record player, radio and record players.
Hmm.
And there was a new AOR radio station just starting up in Tallahassee.
Hmm.
And every just about every night at 11 p.m. they would play a complete album. And so what we would do is we would set out blankets and make a pallet in front of the stereo and just listen to whatever they were playing. And at one point they played this album. They played the full first side and did a station identification and played the second time. And I don't want to use the term, it was an eye-opening experience. And
Okay.
it's like I hadn't heard anything quite like it. I had probably heard some of their earlier stuff on other radio stations,
Hmm.
but we didn't have that many radio stations uh, in redneck country, mostly country music. So this got my attention definitely. And next time I had a chance to get a ride into town and buy an album, this was it. And it's probably one of my most listened to albums of my entire life. Pete Townsend uh, was an incredible influence on me as a beginning guitarist. And
Really?
so eventually, when I started playing in bands and um, when we play cover songs, yeah, that's who I modeled my playing after. And so, since I did a lot of the lead singing in the bands, it was easier for me to play rhythm and let a lead guitar do the heavy lifting on that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's tricky to sing and play tricky stuff at the same time.
Oh
So,
yeah. Oh yeah.
so it's just one of my favorite pieces. And this
Okay.
album is just, it's a gift from heaven. There is nothing bad on it whatsoever, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, for a major Who fan, this is a dream come true. I
Absolutely.
mean, like it's unreal. I mean, I first, I mean, I knew of the hits Bubba O'Reilly and One Could Fool the Game, and Behind Blue Eyes. I first listened to this album must have been um, 15, 16, like all the way through. I bought it. I bought a vinyl copy and I listened to it all for the first time. The other songs really didn't hit me right away, like My Wife and Going Mobile, and the significance of these tracks didn't really hit me right away. Um, but then when I heard that they were coming out with this box set, the box set, I should mention, ladies and gentlemen, was released on September 15th, 2023. It had been delayed for about, I'd say, about a year and a half. I heard about this way back in 2021, that Pete Townsend was going to be releasing this massive set. There is also a box set out there called the Lifehouse Chronicles that you can look up on Discogs. Probably you can get it on Amazon for an expensive amount because
Yeah.
these secondary sellers will try and bleed you dry for your money in terms of these sets.
Well,
But
not
what
only that, but it was originally sold directly through Pete Townsend's website.
his
So
website, yeah, that's right.
I don't even think it was available retail. So,
That's right.
but
That's
it's
right.
a treasure too.
Yeah, it is. It is. When I got the set and literally the person I live with, Bob, he literally had to like use like a forklift to lift this thing up and bring it in the bedroom and help me unwrap it. And they packaged this thing to no end, right? Um, it is an expansive set, and uh, it's quite expensive. Um, I think it retails at this point for something like over like something like $340 for the CD set. But you know what? For the Who fans out there that want all of this material, and we'll go through some of it. There's a lot to go through, and to be fair, there are a lot of well, quite a few repeats in terms of editing
Mhm.
tracks, and but we'll go through it bit by bit. But this is a must-have for any a major Who fan out there that wants to put an extra mortgage on the house in order to be able to afford this
Yeah.
this set. Um, so yeah, but when I sat down, we were in the car, and I actually listened to the album for the first time from track one to track nine. I thought this is a really good album. This is melodic, catchy, deep, rocking. Um, it has all the elements that make up a fantastic Who album. I think they could have gone away with some more tracks instead of just the nine, right? But
Oh, sure.
um, you know, but yeah, we'll go through this. So you do have the set with you there.
I do.
If you maybe wanted to show, if you could show,
Well, it's over there, but
oh, it's
yeah,
over there. Okay, okay, sorry,
yeah, it's okay.
sorry.
Well, the cover looks exactly like the Who's next album. It's got the same cover.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
at the top, it's got the different title.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's right. Um, okay, so what for you when you listen to this set? Uh, what struck you about the set? Because I mean, on the first disc, you have the entire album,
Hmm.
uh, all nine tracks, remixed, remastered, cleaned up. What struck you about this set when you were going through it? And,
Well, other than just simply just such a massive volume of material,
Mhm.
it's nice. I mean, you've already mentioned that there's some duplications, but for me, as a huge Who fan, it's nice to have all of this in one package. Most of the stuff, as far as the demos, um, the alternate sessions, the singles, and whatever, have been available on other albums. But there again, you would have to have all of those albums and just have to piecemeal it to get, a complete
Yeah.
collection of what was recorded. Just to have all this in one place. Um, the fact that I think the remastering is excellent. Listening to it with my earbuds, it's like I'm hearing things that I don't remember hearing on the last remaster, but that just could be my imagination. The demos are also cleaned up, remastered,
Nicely,
and
yeah.
the demo, yeah. But the thing is Townsend even says he spent extra time making these demos. He thought so highly of these songs, and any of us know, if nothing else, through his 3 album Scoop series, which is nothing but remaster demos,
Yeah.
which is a lot of fun to listen to. But so he was always very good at it anyway. But for these, he spent extra time and extra care in making these demos.
Yeah.
And some of them kind of in this current remaster of these demos sound almost like they could just be an album of to themselves. They sound so good.
They, they,
Um,
they do sound very polished and clean.
yeah,
It doesn't sound like it's coming out of either the right or the left channel solely only, it sounds like a full stereo rich
right,
recording, you know.
right.
As stripped down as they are, they do sound
Sure.
quite wonderful, And
Yeah.
just correct me if I'm wrong. Steven Wilson did the remix on this, did he
Hmm.
not? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
I, I thought so because Steven Wilson has a tendency when he does his remixes, has a tendency to bring certain instruments to the forefront. And you almost feel like you're listening to a surround sound
Hmm.
uh, recording when you're actually not. You know what I
That's right.
mean?
That's
So,
right.
yeah,
Well,
no,
and also,
yeah,
also with Stephen Wilson, he does these things, yet he manages to stay true to the original vision. I've got all of his Blu-rays of the Yes albums, of the XTC albums, and it's
mhm,
just uh, it- yeah, as someone in the studio, it's like I almost, as much as I like his own music, I wish there was another Stephen Wilson out there that would just do nothing but this
yeah,
on material, on
yeah,
other artists' material, because he's just so good at it.
yeah. No, he's quite good. I first heard his remixes on the Dress Hotel sets,
Yeah.
and amazing,
Hmm.
just amazing the way that he just pulls out um instruments out of the mixes that you don't even know are there. And then,
Yeah.
like they'll be, on this, on the right side, on the left side. And it's just like
Yeah.
you really feel like you're surrounded by music, like literally
Mhm.
enveloped into the music. So no, it's yeah, no, he's done a fantastic job on
Yeah.
this set. Now, just quickly with this graphic novel that
Mhm.
the story of Lifehouse. What did you make of this when you saw it? Because it's quite big. Like, I mean, you can literally hurt somebody with these books that are in this set. These are weapons. I mean, if anyone tries to break in your home, you've got something to protect
Yeah,
yourself with.
you got that right. Um, yeah, it's a large tomb. But the thing about it is the books, that and the book with the notes
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the other it's a heavy paper. The quality of this is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
The graphic novel, um, I need to go through and honestly read it again
Mhm.
because when you get a box like this, you want to envelop everything at once.
Yeah.
And you can't do it. But one of the nice things is that graphic novel has been released separately from Image Comics. So anybody that both in physical form or in digital form, it's available out there. You don't have to buy the box set to get the graphic novel.
Okay. Yeah. I'll put
So
the I'll put the graphic up of the novel up
okay,
on the screen
yeah, it's
after here.
the graphic novel uh, is a bit more, as far as the environment, is a bit more bleak in the situation than what Townsend has explained. The graphic novel was written, I believe, from one of Pete Townsend's self-made scripts of the story.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, I don't even think Pete even understood everything about Lifehouse, and he surely couldn't get anybody else to understand what it was about. So
Yeah. Yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
so for comic book people, the graphic novel is it's great.
yeah.
It's
No,
nice
I
to have
mean,
that.
don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong. I am not coming down criticizing Pete Townsend, I'm just saying that in his mind he
Mhm.
had all these ideas
Mhm.
of uh, uh, an interactive experience with his audience, and he want I think he wanted to take the music to another level
That's right.
in terms of experiencing it, but I
Mhm.
don't think he fully comprehended what that level was going to be or how he could get to that level
Right.
and have it all still make sense.
That's
Um,
right.
so, and I really, I, from reports I've read, I really don't believe that either Keith Moon or John Entwistle or even Roger Daltrey understood exactly what he was trying to convey with this
Well,
project.
yeah. Well, that's my what I've read too.
Yeah.
And the thing is sometimes for someone as so creative as Townsend is, uh, and you've got these incredible ideas that involve a vision or technology that doesn't even currently exist.
Hmm.
How do you communicate that? Because you can't say, well, it's like this or like that, because there is no this or that to compare it to.
Yeah. At
So
that point,
this
yeah.
is one of the most well documented failures of rock and roll. But
Yeah.
the fact is, it still lives.
Yeah. And the
It's still
fact,
alive.
oh yeah, and the fact that we're able to enjoy it now
Oh, yeah.
in full fruition, do you know what I mean? Just they was able to realize it. It took X amount of years, but he did it,
Hmm.
uh,
Sure.
and in a heavy way in terms of the weight of the like. There's a guys 10 CDs, one Blu-ray. I mean, it's very difficult to sit down and soak 10 discs of music in to your DNA or
Hmm.
sonically understand what is going on. But that's the
Yeah,
beauty of the set. Take it in sections
that's right.
and listen to what you want to listen to. And this album or this project, let's call it a project because,
Yeah.
interactive and immersive and all that. This project went through stages. I mean, it went through first, you have in the set, you have the original album, disc one, disc two, you have, as I scroll down here on my notes, you have, Pete Townsend's Home Demos Part One.
Mhm.
Part two is disc three. Then it went from the home demos to the record plant in New York. Then it went to
Mhm.
Olympic Studios in London, like different recording sessions.
Mhm.
And the people that he got involved with it, I mean, there's a version of Love Ain't for Keeping featuring Leslie West on guitar, from Leslie West from Mountain. I mean, it's like,
Yeah,
and, Nicky Hopkins is also featured
that's
on
right.
tracks here. Nicky Hopkins, fantastic piano player, also played with the Rolling Stones, recorded with the Stones. Everybody in their horse recorded with the Rolling
Everybody.
Stones
Yeah.
at one point. I think maybe even Jimmy Hoffa might have done something. I don't know. Um, but yeah, it is an expansive set, right? And I mean, there's a 13-minute version of where is it on here? Of Bubba O'Reilly, I believe it
Yeah.
is. I
Yeah.
mean, and it's all instrumental, right?
Yeah.
So you get the basic skeleton of the song,
Hmm.
and it's great. I mean, it's fantastic. But near the end, around the 12-minute, 15-second mark, you kind of think, okay, he's running out of ideas here. He's got to figure out how to end this,
Yeah.
and then, okay,
Yeah.
13 minutes, cut this off at 13 minutes and 10 seconds or something, you know. But it's great. It's fantastic. So, yeah,
Well, not just that, but you've got 4 discs of live material, 2 discs
yeah,
recorded at the Young Vic in London,
yeah,
and then 2 more discs of the Civic Auditorium in San Francisco.
that's right.
So you really do get um, a lot of varied material here. You
Mhm.
got the album, you got the remixes, you got other studio work on it, single
Yes.
sessions. and live.
Yes,
And and I never got to see the Who live,
I
but
did.
people that I've spoken to, said at that point in their career, there was nobody better. And I
Yeah,
believe it from what I've
yeah,
listened to.
yeah. No, no. I was able to see the Who live. It was Labor Day weekend, 1989,
Wow.
um, in Toronto. So I do remember that.
Great.
Fantastic band live. But also on Live at Leeds, they lead off the show with the track Heaven and Hell.
Hmm.
And that was a song that was never featured on any album, the studio version of that track. It's on this set,
Yes.
ladies and gentlemen. And that's worth its, and not that it's worth $350 to buy, but it's pretty much worth its weight in gold to get that, that's one gem in this, uh, what you'd call a treasure trove of
Right.
gems, you know. Um,
Right.
but yeah, no, it's true. There's a lot of music on here. And what I like about the show at the Young Vic is there's the banter between the audience and Townsend,
That's right.
right?
That's right.
Well, at one point he's asking people not to dance, or he's asking one person in particular
Yeah.
not to dance around, because they're learning new chords and it's quite distracting, to the band on stage. And there's banter, and Pete Townsend comes back and says something like, "You want to dance with me? Okay, come on up here.
Come on.
We'll dance. We'll dance." And I'm like, okay, this is getting quite interesting.
That's right.
Quite interesting. But you can sort of tell that when you hear the banter back and forth with the audience, you can tell that this is the um, what I would call the early stages of major rock shows that would go for like 2 hours, etc. Like, you know, that would become these major spectacles in the mid to later 70s, right?
Right.
But it it is a fantastic snapshot of the band
It is.
uh live, in 71. The Young Vic show was recorded in April of 71, and the Civic Auditorium concert in San Francisco was recorded December 13th, 1971.
Hmm.
So you can tell just from within those few months, the set list changes quite, you know,
Hmm.
quite a bit, right? So
Right.
between the two live performances, which is your favorite? Or do you have a favorite?
I don't really have a favorite. Um, it's like with all the different edits and whatever of the studio work. It's all
Mhm.
fascinating to me. And uh, Townsend was really good at interacting with the audience.
Yes.
And you hear stories of other rock stars that either don't say anything at all, or they'll do as much harassing to the audience as the audience harasses the artist.
Yeah.
Um, there's some Pink Floyd Roger Waters stories out there that I won't go into. Um,
I've gone into them. It's okay. I know.
yeah, and and talking about hearing that interaction, a lot of the studio tracks that that are on this set, they're unedited, so you hear the talk in the studio
Yeah.
between the band members and Glenn Johns or whoever is
Yeah. The
producing that
engineer.
session,
Yeah. Yeah.
and either one, and it just sounds like they're having a fantastic time.
Yeah.
It's great to hear that.
No, it's true. It's true. I have it just quickly. I have here just the in my notes here. Copy and paste is a wonderful thing, ladies and gentlemen, when you can use the option. Because I was not typing everything out on my own. I'm sorry, it ain't gonna happen. Um, you know, uh, uh, no. Okay. Um, The CD6, sorry, in this collection is titled Singles and Sessions, 1970 to 72. If you bear with me for a second here.
Yep.
And CD6 starts off with the single of The Seeker, right? So songs like that, right? Heaven and Hell, the original single mix,
Mhm.
is on here as well. Original new stereo mix, sorry, and it's track 3 on CD6. So you've
Mhm.
got another track that I'd never heard before was Water.
Mm.
Uh, this is the ELPi Sound Studio uh,
Yeah.
new unedited mix. So I mean, you got a lot of these nuggets of gold in
Right.
this set, right?
Yeah.
Um, just amazing, right? Just amazing. And I'm with you about the live recording. I do like the fact that there's banter between the audience
Mhm.
and the band, and that it's like a coming together. I mean, okay, there's banter, but
That's right.
you can tell that they're there to have a good time, you know, and how people are like shouting out, okay, what should we play next? You know, people yelling, "Can't explain," or
Right.
whatever. And the fact that these songs from Who's Next are quite new. They haven't been released
That's
yet.
right. That's right.
So and what I like about the Young Vic performance again is the new um the songs that are just sort of being road tested, right? It's like
Yeah.
an evolution, right? Okay, these songs are going to work, these songs are not. Let's take this out of the set, let's put this in the set, kind of thing.
Mhm.
Uh, I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. Um, so yeah. I, do Just one quick question. Do you find that
Mhm.
from the Yuck, I'm just gonna Yuck, Young Vic performance, sorry. One coffee, guys, forgive me.
That's it.
And the Civic Auditorium performance. Do you find that there's a bit of like a maturity in the performances, like in terms of okay, they've honed it in, they've sharpened the performances somewhat to some of the songs, or there's like a bit of an evolution going on, or do you find it's pretty
Oh,
much the same?
yeah, absolutely. As much as, it's like almost like the difference between the demos and the final version of the song. Um, because who knows how much time they spent before these before the concerts
Yeah,
that they spent, playing these songs.
yeah,
Um, because in the studio you get to do multiple takes, you do dubs, you do whatever. You don't do everything at once like you
yeah,
do in concert.
yeah,
So yeah, I'm sure they were, um, especially in the first concerts, like, okay, I don't need a distraction. I'm trying to make sure I stay on track for everything.
yeah,
I can't remember which track it was, but there is one even in one of the studio sessions which uh, could pick out a couple of little bitty mistakes. The only one
yeah,
I could really find, Keith Moon. But then even at the end of their time with Keith, when they were filming those concerts for the Kids Are All Right documentary on Bob O'Reilly,
hmm,
uh, he forgot where he was at one point during the beginning. Unless you know the song real well, you wouldn't know the difference.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
of course, Keith wasn't in the best of health at that time. But other than that, he was always, just flawless. And plus, he was such an unconventional drummer. A lot of times when you think, okay, well, that was a mistake. No, we intended to do it. Just the same way Ginger Baker was.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
so yeah, but yeah, there's definitely um, a maturity, a more familiar. aspect of one concert to the other. So just the fact that they have those two separate live shows on here
Hmm.
also shows the progression of this project.
Yeah. No,
So I
it's
love
true.
it. Yeah.
It's true. No, I agree with you. Like again, I'm just scrolling through my, the track listing for the uh disc one of the CD9 part one of the Civic Auditorium performance, and you have songs that you've got Won't Get Fooled Again, that is stretched out to 11 minutes and 7 seconds. Just, like improvisational
Yeah.
piece, improv sections all over the place. They do CD9 ends with a 17-minute 9 second version of Magic Bus.
Yeah.
Okay. So they were able to take these songs and stretch them and do improv sections and just do uh, in some cases I guess medleys and whatever, and just
Mhm.
just have fun with it.
Yeah.
Have fun with these tracks. And I mean, yeah, I do agree with you. I do hear a maturity, a honing in, as it were, from,
Mhm.
on the songs from the first performance at the Vic to the Civic Auditorium performance
That's
in
right.
in San
Because they're more
Francisco.
comfortable in order to do those, to
Yeah,
veer away from what the way it was recorded. And
yeah,
of course they were so good at doing things on the fly.
hmm,
That is, it's a band of four soloists initially, but
yeah,
just all of them just such top-notch musicians that I think there was a certain element of telepathy among them,
yeah,
being able to read what the other was doing,
hmm,
whoever would take the lead at the time.
yeah,
And they're just able to do stuff like that on the fly. Um,
yeah, and
it's amazing.
yeah, and I mean, again, guys, also, there was friction too in the band
Hmm.
at
Hmm.
times. I mean, I saw an interview with Townsend, Pete Townsend, um, on YouTube, and you can look this up, where he's talking about his frustration with Keith Moon at one point because his behavior was so erratic that his drumming suffered
Right.
considerably. And there was a story where um, uh, Townsend got a call from a car dealership that Keith Moon had bought a car and charged the Who's organization to pay for it. And
Yeah,
Townsend said, "We are not paying for that. He's paying for it. Don't call this number again. And if he tells you that we're paying for it, charge him anyway. We are not paying for this." And just
that's
slammed the
right.
phone down. And he thought, like, what am I dealing with here? Like, and he was getting extremely frustrated, right?
Sure.
There was a point before the album did come out that, or it was even recorded, he wanted to leave the band because he was getting frustrated with the music business at the time, and that he wasn't home enough with his wife, that he wasn't home enough for his family, that it wasn't working for him anymore. But he pushed
Mhm.
through, and out came this, for lack of a better term, and I know this term is overused, but a masterpiece
Yeah.
of an album.
Well, at the time, remember that this album came out between Tommy and Quadrophenia,
Yeah,
and they had toured Tommy exhaustively,
incessantly. Yeah, yeah.
incessantly, and in Twistle and Moon, they just wanted to stay on the road, and so yeah, uh, Pete
That's
wanted that time. It was too much.
that's right.
And there's stories of others like that. And Keith Moon was such a loose cannon. There's pictures of his, I don't remember if it was a BMW or a Bentley or whatever. He drove it into a swimming pool.
That's right.
Um, he was notorious for trashing hotel rooms. I think he was banned from might have been Holiday Inn forever.
Yeah.
You know, he was banned. But and there's the infamous story of him taking horse tranquilizers before a gig
Yes. There's
and had to
footage
be
of
carried
this.
off the stage. And Pete Townsend steps up to the microphone and addresses the audience. Is there anyone here that can play drums? And an audience member came up and stood in for Keith for I don't know how many tunes it was,
I think they
but
played about five. Yeah, I think his name was
something
Jim.
like
His
you
name was
know,
Jim, I believe. And
I think
yeah,
so.
I saw the video footage of Keith Moon passing out while they were during in the middle of a song. Like he passed out
Yes.
like a
Yeah.
kid. So Pete Townsend looks back, he's like, oh Lord, here we go. So he grabbed him, got him off stage, and they got someone up on stage. I believe his name was Jim, and they, all shook hands and they continued the show. They played about five songs and said, I'm
Hmm.
sorry, guys, we can't continue. Like
That's
it's,
it.
we got to
Yeah.
go. Um,
And I don't know if you've seen the documentary, The Kids Are All Right or not, but
yeah,
um, at the end of Won't Get Fooled Again, that they recorded for that documentary, and Keith Moon jumps over the drums to take a bow. He's only like, he's in his early 30s, but he looks so much older. And, he just abused his body
yeah,
with
yeah,
substance and wild lifestyle and whatever so much.
yeah,
He looked at least 20 years older than he was.
exactly.
And looking at that, it's hard, you have to remind yourself how young he was at the time.
Yeah, no, it's true.
And
It's true.
and the real tragedy of it is he was getting off the drugs. And what he OD'd on was what he was prescribed to get off of the drugs,
Yeah,
to help him, not have to go bad cold turkey.
yeah,
And unfortunately, he OD'd on that. So
yeah.
truly tragic,
No, it
But
is. It is.
and I think, and they've been trying to make a film of Keith's life for decades.
Hmm.
I read just the other day they're making another stab at it. I hope they do it, and I hope they do it well
Okay. No,
because he deserves that.
no, I hope they do too. No, I seen there's a documentary called The Amazing Journey on
Yes,
DVD, and I saw that, and it's quite good and quite detailed as
it
to
is.
the history of the band and that
Hmm.
particular time period. Getting back to who's next for a second, because we tend to go on tangents on this channel. Um,
I'm bad at it.
no, no, no. Believe me, I'm notorious for it. But the what happened was this is coming into this is making sense now. What happened was they had toured Tommy, guys, incessantly, and Townsend was trying to come up with another concept idea, and out came this idea for Lifehouse, and it just got to the point where he couldn't complete it because it it was getting all messed up. The general idea of it was just getting really to the point where he couldn't understand what he was doing anymore.
Right.
So he just thought, okay, I'll abandon the Lifehouse idea. I'll take what tracks I've written that can be salvageable and work on them and get them out. And okay, who's next? Just an amazing album. Now, also to mention, all of these tracks are remixed by Steven Wilson. The Blu-ray disc that is in the set is the Who's Next album, remixed by Steven Wilson, plus 14 bonus tracks that are done in uh, Dolby 5.1 and Dolby Atmos
Mhm.
uh, sound. And, you know, if the 10 CDs are not enough for you, You got the 11th disc to put in your Blu-ray player and surround and listen to it in full rich stereo. So, but
That's
I
right.
think within the set, I think you'll find something that will grab you and want to make you listen more. I mean, again, the studio version of Heaven and Hell alone, just to listen to it. It's
Mhm.
just to have it in your hands, right? After all these years. I got a quick question for you. Getting back to the
Okay.
live performances. Um, I was talking to Jim Bricker,
Mhm.
and we were talking about the Live at Leeds album, um, and the fact that it was originally released as a album, single LP, but now on CD you can get the double disc with the performance of Tommy, and that performance was done, I believe, at the Young Vic Theater on Valentine's Day, 1970. There are many performances of Tommy done live
Mhm.
over the years. Do you feel that it was necessary to do Tommy live, or could they have gone away with just doing their hits and maybe some album tracks? Or, uh, I mean, I have my opinion of it, but
That's a good question. I think because of the time that they were recording for that album, they were touring for that out for
Mhm.
they were touring that album basically. Um, as far as releasing it, I think for any Who completist, it's really nice to have. Of course, on the deluxe box set of Live at Leeds, they also have the Live at Hull concert, which I think was the night before, which Townsend has said was a better performance than the Leeds, but you know, I'm picky about my performances too.
Yeah,
To me, my favorite part of Live at Leeds is the non-Tommy material because it really shows um, what a powerhouse that they were. And I've read that they released the Live at Leeds album after Tommy to really show what uh, to demonstrate, what a live powerhouse they were
mm,
outside of Tommy, because there were so many people that only knew them for Tommy because it was just such a phenomenon at the time.
at the time, yeah.
So I'm glad I have it, but I usually don't listen to it. And the thing about the tour after Tommy, the great thing about it was is that's where Roger Daltrey really found his voice.
Hmm.
I think about what comes to mind is See Me, Feel Me. You listen to the original, it's very nice and whatever. But then listen to it after they've been touring it for a while. You hear that power,
Yeah,
more of a power in his voice,
yeah,
which of course they brought to the fore on Who's Next
hmm,
and the
hmm,
albums after that.
yeah,
Um, and there's some tracks on the box set, um, some of the alternate stuff that Pete's singing on. And it's like his voice is much more powerful too. So that
yeah,
being constantly on the road not only polished what they were able to do as musicians, but
yeah,
also vocally, because Entwistle did a lot of backing vocals on
hmm,
the albums and stuff. They would do the three-part harmony in concert.
yeah,
And
yeah. And no,
yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I agree with you. And Entwistle too, John Entwistle as a vocalist, he's pretty good too as a vocalist. I mean,
That's right.
who knows? Maybe, if he was allowed to sing more
Hmm.
or on the albums, like, I think like on Who's Next, he's got the one composition, My Wife,
Yeah,
right?
my
Um,
wife.
who knows what would have happened if more of his compositions were put on the albums? I
That's
mean,
right. Well, and my wife wasn't originally intended to be on Who's Next. That was
okay.
one that was added much late in the process. That was originally going to be going on one of his solo albums.
Yeah.
And actually on this box set, one of my favorite um, tracks of Entwistle's called Postcards.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just there's just so much into it. And of course, one of the great things about his songs is the brass. And he all plays it all himself. It's just amazing.
That's right. That's right.
It's not that easy to play brass. I played
No.
French horn in high school. I know it, but and that's one of the songs that and the thing about it is a lot of these demos and studio stuff, particularly the other studio stuff, not all of it was intended to be part of Lifehouse.
Hmm.
It's just songs that they recorded at the same time. Although after um, at the end of the process of the project, Roger Daltrey convinced him to write The Seeker, um,
Yeah.
I think Joined Together, and one other, to be as part of it. And the thing about it is one of the missed opportunities of this was not including um, um, oh, forgot what the song is right now. How sad. Um,
It's okay.
Pure and Easy.
Pure and
There
easy.
once
Okay.
was a
Yeah.
note, pure, because that is almost the core of the Lifehouse. There once was a note, and you hear that echoing back, and actually at the very end of one
Yeah.
of the Who's next songs. And originally Townsend had envisioned this being a double album, but
Mhm.
Glenn Johns said, "Nah, I think it should be a single." And Townsend was on the fence, so Glenn Johns went ahead and did um, a mix with what his idea of the tracking alignment, the tracks.
Yeah.
And after playing that for Townsend, Townsend said, "Nah, that's pretty solid." But that's okay. I've made my own version of the double album, from these tracks
You
because,
did. Okay.
um, yeah, because The Seeker, and all those other songs to me are just so good,
Hmm.
whether they had anything to do with the Lifehouse project or not.
But that's just it, right? I mean, the thing is, this album is good. This album, Who's Next? Who's Next? Sorry, the way it was released, the track listing, to me, it is solid from track
Mhm.
one to track nine. Um, but who knows if it would have been
Yeah.
released as a double album? Who knows
Oh,
what
that's right.
would happen? The problem is, or the thing is that these, artists want to get out as much of the material as they can, as they, as
Mhm.
possible, um, because they want the public to hear it. When you
That's
get
right.
when you get producers and record companies that come in and say, no, we can't sell a double album. It's
Yeah.
not going to work. This isn't going to, it's not going to fly. We can't justify charging, I don't know what a double album cost in 1971, but we can't, justify, say, charging like $12 for a double
Hmm.
album in
Hmm.
1971. And a lot of the times, corporate decisions will
Hmm.
prevail, unfortunately.
That's right.
Um, but you know what, guys? That's the way it is. And just another footnote, getting back to See Me, Feel Me. Townsend said he was going to the studio, he was going to go to the studio one morning or one afternoon to record the lead vocal for See Me, Feel Me. Daltrey was in there already. He just did a rough, you know,
Yeah.
take of it. Townsend heard it and said, "That's it.
That's it.
That's it. Why do I need to put my vocal on this? This is perfect." He captured it brilliantly. Like, this is it. That was, and I do, but don't quote me on this, guys, but I do believe that rough or demo vocal on See Me Feel Me is the master vocal for it. So you never know when it's going to happen, guys. You know
Never
what I
know.
mean?
You
So
never know.
no. So do you have any more to add, anything more to add about the set or
Uh, I have absolutely nothing negative to say about this set, but at the same time, uh, I have all of the Who deluxe box sets except the Live at Leeds,
okay.
but I have the double disc. But and of course the one before this was the Who Sell Out. They've also done one for Quadrophenia. All of these Who box sets are just absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Just like all the Jethro Tull, deluxe editions are just
Yes.
just top notch. And
Yes.
and I know today I'm supposed to be getting in the mail the new box for Yes is Fragile. Not as extensive as far as we like to say, it's not a dog's bollocks box set, but it's got the important stuff, which is the 4 discs of solid remastered music,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
there again, yeah.
Yeah.
So
No, no.
uh,
Yeah.
this can be found. I got mine because I think this retailed for like $2.99 retail. Um, I got mine online from a reseller for like I think it was like uh, maybe 150 bucks. So, which was very
Mhm.
doable for me because I would have had trouble coming up with 300 bucks for this. But
Yeah, that's
it
hard.
it
Yeah.
remains to be seen. But there are smaller versions of this. There's a
Yes.
single CD and I believe a double CD that has the remixed original album and the demos. So
Yeah.
any of this stuff, is great to pick up if you're a Who fan or if you've just never bought this album before.
Hmm.
There's a heavy vinyl of it. So, um, but any chance you get for the Who box set, I'd say if you can do it, go for it. I
That's right.
read over the last several weeks, somebody found the master tapes for the Who by Numbers, which is a very underrated Who album, in my opinion.
Hmm.
So there are many of us that are just hoping we're going to get one of these big super deluxe sets of Who by Numbers. And of course, we're still waiting for a box set of Who Are You, the
Yeah.
last one with
Yeah.
Keith Moon.
That's right.
And and I recommend, like I say, I recommend the documentary "The Kids Are All Right." It's
Hmm.
available on CD and Blu-ray, and a really good soundtrack CD. But also a source that you mentioned before was the classic album series on the making of this album, Who's Next.
Yeah.
Um, it's 60 minutes long. I would have liked I would like for it to have been 3 times as long.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
I know.
yeah, because just like listening to this, there's just so much good to the
There's
ears.
just so much information that you want to know about, right? That's out there.
That's right.
And I just, you just want them to give you it all, right? I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
no, I get you. No, I get you. No, it's true. No, th this set, guys, Who's Next box set, uh, is massive. It is a lot of music to take in. I don't recommend you taking it in all at once, please. We
No,
all need bathroom breaks. We all need food and water. We all need sleep. So take this in increments of however long you can sit for and listen to it. But I do recommend you listening to it.
I do
Um,
too.
as Ken says, this set comes in various formats and LP, double CD, um, and this massive 11 disc set, 10 CDs, one Blu-ray audio. And if you can get it, for a good price, you can get it on Amazon.ca, Amazon.com, Amazon
Mhm.
UK. You can get it on Discogs. You can get it on eBay. if you can find someone to part with their copy for a good price and
That's
not
right.
have to put two mortgages on your home in order to get this this version, the 10 CD version of it, please go for it because there's something in there for everybody,
That's right.
right?
And before you sink a lot of money into it, if you want to give it a sample, I believe it's all on Spotify. And so you
Yes.
can sample it. It's not going
Yes.
to be as quite high definition as it would be, but you know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
And if people know that, I think there are going to be more box sets sold.
But that's also true. You can also stream this too on YouTube. All
Yeah,
109 tracks
yeah,
are available on YouTube to stream, and it, it's a hell of a set. It's
it's
a
a
hell of
hell
a
of a
set.
set.
So that's it for now, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank Ken Cheshire for joining me on this on this episode, his first appearance, hopefully not his last appearance. He'll come back on and talk some more music with me. Anyways, guys, please check this out. I will put the information up to where the graphics, so you'll see what we're talking about too. I am Armando Venditti. For now, signing off. Please look after yourselves and one another, and click like and hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content that we've got coming up on the channel. Starting July 2nd, Jim Bricker, Bill Schuster, and I are going to be taping our episodes for our 31 perfect albums, all killer, no filler. We've each picked our 31. I've made a couple of additions and subtractions from the list, and uh, Bill Schuster described it as how do you put it? As deciding which one of your children you love the best or you love
That's
more.
right.
Um, okay, so Bill is invested in
That's
these
right.
episodes.
And
So
in preparation for that, I've got my choices that I'll be posting in the comments. So, yeah,
perfect. Perfect. No, that'd be great. That'd be great. So, ladies and gentlemen, please again look after yourselves and one another. For Ken Cheshire, I'm Armando Venditti. Hoping you have a good day, and we'll see you soon with another episode. Bye for now.
thank you.